Uranus-Pluto generation in Virgo. Those are the people who were digging, finding out all about this unconscious stuff. You know, finding out about health. All of that research comes under that. But we're looking at, when you look at the progression of Pluto, wherever it is, that's where all that story is happening. Okay? So we're looking at the Scorpio nature. Okay? That's the ancestral, or what the occult realm. That's where you can connect with certain, what they call it, ancestral forces, which is the library of the spirit world, or the bank of the spirit world. Think about it. One thing that would represent Scorpio in that sense is that stool they have in Ghana, where they call the stool that they use. That stool, you know, is symbolic of the bank. Yeah, it's symbolic of the bank. That's with the ancestral spirit. They tell you in the Wanga, they will tell you the ancestral spirits are in the Wanga, or the Odyssey. They tell you that's where ancestral spirits reside. You see, that's the libraries or the bank of the ancestral spirit that we can tap into. Scorpio. And the sister, you put out the thing earlier there just now, the skull.
Oh yes.
The crystal skull, or the skull. The skull represents the unconscious knowledge, because the skull represents something that was alive. You understand? And is a symbolic of the mental plane. That's what. So that's why you see in a lot of Obia or any mystical tradition, they will have the skull, because it represents the unconscious mind. Not the physical, because it's not an existing thing, but it's conscious because you can see the skull, but it's conscious of the other realm. That's what the skull is. So it's a powerful symbol, and people overlook that. That's why the crystal skull, you know, they're planning to bring all the crystal skull together because of the power. Yeah. So the power of the unconscious mind. You know?
About 10 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. So it's important to understand how symbolism plays a role. But Scorpio in itself also represents your inheritance. What you've inherited from parents, from family, from culture, from government, you know, what the inheritance. So if you have a strong Scorpion, then you're looking for your inheritance, or you have some strong inheritance that comes with it. Okay? So wherever that plays out in your chart is what your inheritance. It's a certain type of bank, if you look at it in the realm of bank, or library, or hidden information, or hidden resource. Okay? Something that you got to probe, but not something that you just step in. Like, you know, when I came here, I know the brother, I was just putting up the sign there to let me know it was open. You know, I couldn't just come in, and I'm wondering, did he have a camera to see me coming out? Because he was just in time to do it, you know? If you don't just walk into somebody who's into martial arts place just like that, and even though they're expecting you to just walk in and just come in with that. No, there's certain security that goes by. That's why the Scorpion have what? It's Gandhi. It's protections. You know? You don't just go there because boom, you get hit by the head or the tail. Anyone who gets you, we're gonna get you. So there's protection at the head and there's a protection at the tail. Watch out them Scorpions. They're playing. They're playing. And that's why they have Mars as part of the rulership. You understand? Because they'll throw down if they have to. You know, they protect themselves.
They will go down.
You know what I mean? So even though they represent the Scorpio, they will have a sword in the house, or a knife, or something of protection. So the banks do have the protection, yes.
I know we only have 10 minutes left, just a quick question.
Yes.
But doesn't it also mean that be careful when you tread the occult world? Like
yes, powerful one you said. Be careful. Because many people lose their mind. Many people lose their mind in going to the unconscious realm. No people are because it's not something that you can't go blindly. You can't travel in the dark waters without eyes to see the other realm. You understand? You don't just go there like that. Just what I was saying. I couldn't just come in the brother house there, you know, or temple just like that. You know what I mean? I see the sign, it says open. And even though I tried the door, it wasn't open. The brother had to let me in. You know what I mean? I'm not giving away your security more than what you have in this place. I don't know what it is. But you know what I mean? We have to have your protection. You understand? So the occult realm have its protection. And so that's why when people hear, oh, you're into the cult, they think you're into devil worship.
Right.
Because it's not something of the cult, it's not something you talk about. I have experience about this cult realm. You know what I mean? Experience, and some things you don't talk about because you don't boast over the realm. Because you get slapped in the face, you get slapped in your head. Because certain things you don't talk about.
That's true,
And
brother.
it's not because it's bad.
That is so true. I've had old lectures crash.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say a certain thing. Right.
Yeah. And it's not because it's bad. It's because what's there have to stay there.
Yeah.
You know, there's certain money don't leave the bank. There's certain gold, you know, one of the things they say about September 11 that the black gold was under the World Trade Center. They was able to get it out because in that problem. So they're able to get it out there. But there's certain things that don't leave when you go to the museum. They belong there. You understand? You come and you get what you want because that's for you. You understand? I have experience, I know when I was studying, I have experience that, wow, people think I was doing martial arts. I have an experience where I could put my feet just like up in the air like that because I felt like there's a loose, certain energy just leave my lower being.
Yeah.
You understand? But that's not something that you boast about or even talk about.
Yeah.
There's certain experience that you have, you don't talk about because it's your experience. It doesn't mean it's bad or it's wicked or, you know, it's just your experience. And when you don't talk about it, it makes you more powerful because you're protecting the secret. Because everybody has certain knowledge that they have to come about. So he said, he said, we're not going to break the surprise. We let you, you know, aware of what you have to aware of. So that's how it works. And that's why they can rule detectives and mediums, scorpions and detectives and mediums. Because if you're checking out the case, if I'm interviewing this brother about the case, why would I tell him or her? Because he might have some family that knows him, or vice versa, that we connect to the other side. So now I'm bringing it down the physical realm now from the spiritual. So I'm detecting, I'm finding out certain information on him like a Columbo. I can't come tell her. Because he may know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows him. And so therefore I'm in trouble. I could lose the case. You know, I could have somebody killed. Same thing. Do you see how that applies to the metaphysics right there? You know what I mean? Certain ancestral spirit knock on you and give you some information. Sometimes they're not even supposed to give you, but they say, let me keep him off. Make things a little easier. And then you're going to go talk. You know what I mean? But actually, in the metaphysics, that says, he who talks don't know anything. So bear that in mind, I don't know anything talking here today. You know what I mean? Because that's how it goes. You know what I mean? That's how they say. In Jamaica, that's a big statement. Who that talks know nothing. You know, because they said in the metaphysics or in the occult world, they says the secret about our secret that there is no secret, and that's the secret. Because really, it's what you're supposed to know, you will know when the time is right. Okay?
Put your hands together for the brother. Excellent information. The brother's right. The more you think you where we have classes. Next week, Booker T. Coleman will be here, and he'll be here for the next 4 weeks up until Thanksgiving. This is a series of classes that I'm doing, and this is the third in a series of 6. And this particular part is going to finish up what we talked about last week. We're heading more toward the occult, but this particular one is going to deal basically with how to live in third dimensional reality. We hear a lot about fourth dimension and all these different dimensions and all this information in metaphysics and where did it come from, what's the history behind it, and how do we use it? And so that's what we're going to deal with right here today. We're going to take about a 10-minute break in about an hour and then finish it up. And we're going to start right off with a little bit of history dealing with magic. On the screen you'll see here, that is who Dawood made very famous, Black Herman. And let's see if I get this pointer to work. Well, you can see that up there. Let's see if I get that to work. Black Herman lived in Harlem. He was a famous magician in Harlem, one of the most famous, who lived right on 135th Street behind the county, what was known as the County Coloring Library, who had a brownstone there. He was so powerful, he was more than just a magician. He was a astrologer, and he had all of these different occult sciences that the Moors taught under his belt. Harry Houdini, and who gets his name from Allah Houdin, a Moor named Allah Houdin. Herman gets his from a white man named Herman. That's not his, Black Herman is not his real name, but he was called Black Herman so that the white audiences at that time, would accept him for what he does. His main objective was, when he was dealing with magic, was disappearing acts. And magic and disappearance has a lot to do with the occult, because when it got dark outside in ancient times, we go all the way back a million years, and it got dark outside, then everything became occult. It was hidden, it all of a sudden became invisible. So what we call magic and making things invisible was the science of really nighttime. You know, basic natural magic. But he lived at 135th Street, and he was a powerful spiritualist who taught people how to hit the numbers and all these different things. He's buried up at Woodlawn Cemetery, supposedly. He would actually pay people's rent. Now that's magical.
Oh yeah.
That's magical. He would actually pay people's rent right here in Harlem. And here he is. He would actually entertain children, adults, everybody. He had healing powers. Eventually, the government didn't like this power that he had. He didn't have a large following, but people knew of him and went to him, and the government didn't like that. So the police department sent a black woman in who was an undercover agent because they had made what he does illegal, and it still is to this day, and it started back with the Inquisition, to practice magic. And to go to get a license to do it and open up a store to do it and all, that's illegal still to this day, based on the Catholic Church owning 75% of New York City. He took this woman in and read her aura and all these different things, and she went with I don't know what kind of device she had. I don't know if they had recording devices at that time, but she came back with documents and stuff to the police. Then had him arrested. He was thrown in jail, and he never really recovered from that. And when he came out, he started doing magic again. He never really recovered from that. Some say he buried himself in the ground and disappeared. Some say he died. So no one really knows. But that is Black Herman, who was a very powerful brother. And information now, just like Pascal Beverly Randolph, now beginning to come out about him. And there's a white boy who wrote a book on him, Occult America. Is an excellent book. I mean, this book should be in everybody's library.
What era was that?
This is the 1800s.
Oh, the 1800s.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, this is actually the early 1900s, really.
Okay.
Yeah, and late 1800s, early 1900s. And I might be mistaken about that. It might be even later, because the Rucker Park is named after him. We have the Rucker at 145th Street, and the Pro Rucker up at 155th Street is named after him.
We're looking at his
name was actually, there you go. His name was, I've been studying this stuff for so long, I forget sometimes. His name was Herman Rucker. Okay, Herman Rucker, where you get the Rucker basketball tournaments. Okay.
Because his clothes look like they might have been worn in the teens or the 20s.
Yeah. I have to go back and really look at the dates, but I think it's the early 1900s to the mid to late 1900s, somewhere around there, in order for his name to be really named after Rucker Park. I have to look at that again. It's been a while since I really dealt with that. I just wanted to get it on tape so people can understand, because this is part of a new book I have coming out called Your Secret Self Part 2. And so you could get all that information, the dates and all of that, and history on him and all that in the book. And this is where we're going through now is in my new book. If slave traders tried to take any of my people captive, we would release ourselves using our secret knowledge, Black Herman. Now, this statement is from the fairy tales or the stories he would tell children as he did his magic. His magic was incorporated into African folk tales that uplifted the hearts of people, that gave them strength to go on. Let me read it again. If slave traders, this was the story he was telling, if slave traders tried to take any of my people captive, we would release them ourselves using our secret knowledge. Now, he says this is real stuff, true stuff he got from Africa. The white boy says he made it up. So I believe him, and I believe that most of the time when you try to take slaves, and the slaves that came over here, all were dealing with voodoo and various other types of magic. Benjamin Rucker, known as Black Herman, was born in Amherst, Virginia in 1892. Okay, so it's 1892. Herman lived in a 3-story townhouse on West 136th Street.
Do you think that townhouse is still there?
I think it is. I'm not sure though. I haven't been over there in a while, but that's right near the children's. They used to have a children's and adults library over there. Herman loaned money to neighbors and friends for rent and coal. He treated neighborhood kids to prizes and apples and pie eating contests. His stage shows and occult product businesses provided full and part-time work to dozens of people. Herman fashioned his Harlem townhouse into the headquarters of a new Negro Renaissance. And in the 1920s and 30s, he presided over Sunday night saloons with local businessmen, lawyers, and artists. So it was started in the 1800s all the way up to the 30s. You see, so we're pretty much on target. I mean, just erased from history. By the 1930s, New York State had enacted a stringent anti-fortune-telling law that provided the claim that prohibited the claim or pretended use of occult powers for commercial purpose. Police spotted a very big target in Harlem, and Harlem's most famous magician. This is the white boy called him Harlem's most famous magician. That's history. That's history. If you are Harlem's most famous, you are in history. But he is wiped out of history. And just now coming out in this book that I'm reading from, that was written by a white boy, called Occult America. You can get it in that book. You can get it in these quotes in my book also. In Harlem, Herman offered private services as a mind reader, spiritual advisor, and root doctor. He maintained a formal waiting room and regular office hours at his townhouse.
That should be a museum now.
It should be. I mean, you have to go through a lot of mess just to go up to his gravesite. Because I think Duke Ellington might be in there. There's quite a few famous people in there, and he's up there. And we went up there one time, and we were like doing an interview, and they threw us out. You can't. You got to fill out a form. Herman freely prescribed hoodoo formulas and methods, including sachet powders of herbs to be worn on the body, a John the Conqueror root, magical repetitions of the Psalms, and special uses of the husband's foot scrapings to keep him home. So these things are now, you can get books on this in the Britannicas now. It was a traditional hoodoo consultation with Herman playing the role of poor man's psychologist. There was a man that came after him called John Moore, who was the hobo herbologist in Harlem after this. And this man, Herman, also sparked the brothers to open up the what was known as the the Tree of Life, and all the metaphysics where Earth, Wind, and Fire used to come down to Harlem and hang out right there on 125th Street.
I was a student with him.
And the brother was a student of him also.
And he called himself a hoboologist.
Hoboologist. Okay, right.
He taught us herbology.
Yes.
Took us through the streets of Harlem and showed us edible plants growing out of parking lots on the side of the street. Said there's no reason to go hungry in Harlem.
No, it's not. As a matter of fact, there's a bird of paradise tree right in front of the juice bar down by Sekou. All those trees have edible foods, nuts that grow on them. And the leaves can be healed, can be used as a form of aspirin. And that's right outside. But Dawood was also a student of John Moore. Yeah, John Moore. But all of that stems from this one magical brother who lived on 136th Street that did all this stuff. And I'm very surprised that J. Rogers though mentioned him in his books. It was a traditional hoodoo consultation with Herman playing the role of poor man's psychologist as the author prescribed himself. On June 17th, a jilted wife who turned out to be an undercover policewoman by the name of Nettis Sweatman, arrested him for fortune telling and practicing medicine without a license. Herman died April 17th, 1934.
Wow. Very young.
Not far from Hitler's birthday.
Not far. Here are some of the books that we're going to hopefully get to all the information in these books, but you can go and get. Word Magic, or Magic Words, is a very powerful book. I bought that at a World Book Fair. In there is just dropping some heavy stuff about words, how to use it in magic, like Oprah and backwards is Harpo, we know about that, but it also has a meaning, and various other words that we speak all the time have certain magical powers, such as abracadabra, you see, and it has different forms. Excellent book.
Is there any way to make this a little sharper? Or no?
Let's see if we can make it sharper. I think that's the sharpest. It might be the lighting and stuff like that. That's the sharpest it's gonna get. And I can't even read the. You know what? I can make it bigger. Let's make it bigger.
Is that good?
Yeah, I'm gonna shrink it down after I. That's not do. Magic Words. And then over here, we talked about Ha Ha Lung. Excellent book, Mind Fist, because he gives you the techniques to combat mind control. Of course, we know the ninjas were masters of mind control, and it goes all the way back to the Hashashin. And all mind control basically go back to, as it became cultivated, go back to the ninjas. That's why they wear black, because that was us. That was the Moors. The Moors were very powerful people because we had the capacity to learn, whereas the most other cultures, or Europeans especially, lacked the capabilities. They could be trained. They don't really learn anything. They get training in things. Because learning is part of an intuitive inner act. But anyone could be trained. That's why you go to school. But we learn, and they can be trained. The ninjas have various sects, different types of ninjas. But the main ones I want to focus on are the early Taoists. We're going to get into a little bit later. Mind Penetration, another powerful book by Ha Ha Lung. Ha Ha Lung is not his real name. His real name is Dirk Skinner. And he has a pen name dealing with whatever secret society he belongs to. And then Occult America, this is a really good one, and I'm going to shrink it down so we can see the author, because that one you definitely want to get, because it deals a lot with Black Herman. Let's see. Deals a lot with Black Herman. That is, well, I can see the last name, that's Horowitz. Mitch Horowitz. Mitch Horowitz. Occult America, The Secret History of How Mysticism Shaped Our Nation. This is a really good book. Hardcover. I think I paid $29 in it, and it's dropping now. Blavatsky and all the occultists that had an impact in American culture. This is the city of Bruni, a Moorish city somewhere near, believe it or not, Asia. In Asia, around, I think it's near China. Black folks, Moors, And that is the, according to the information I got on this, is the richest people per person. Every person, they don't have a job. Nobody there has a job except for working for either what we today might call a master. We look at slave masters and slaves as a negative thing because of the way our ancestors were treated by the European, but that's not slavery. Slavery only meant Slav, and it meant that you had a job. Slave is another word for job, okay? And it became negative when we looked at our slave history. Then it became attributed to torture and all that other stuff. But that's the city of Burundi. Here's my master teacher. This is us back in, I don't know, the 1800s. Dr. C. Freeman L. This is on 127th Street, and we talked for a good 2 or 3 hours, and he became my master teacher, and I learned a lot from that brother, who taught me to really study that Bible, not from a Christian perspective, but from a more science and occult perspective. Last time I was here, we talked about channeling, and I'm leading up to why and how we're going to use, we need to use third dimensional reality for the sciences that we teach and learn, how to use all that stuff to live out your life. Most of the people here, my brother D. Brad, who's going to talk about his book, and you guys here probably heard a lot of this before, but for the purpose of the tape and my new book, this is all in my new book, which will be out in December, I want to go through this, and so you could go to my website and order that. Channeling Polaris and the Big Dipper. And many of us have seen this symbol before, but what do you see over his head? The Big Dipper. And Montauk Chia teaches this also, because the Big Dipper is, you can see it, that's one of the one star systems you can actually see with the naked eye, if you look north. And Polaris, major star system. Polaris is actually the flag of the North Pole, with the Big Dipper on it. We know about Dr. Strange, that's really Pascal Beverly Randolph. And if you read, go get the Dr. Strange, they have a whole big book with all his comic books in it. And it'll break down all the dreams and the magic and the chakras. He deals with all of that. And up at the top, you'll see him here in his original form as a black man. Because what they did was that he was originally black, of course, but most recently they took some character called Brother Voodoo and merged him with Dr. Strange to create, to give back this Dr. Strange character back to us. Because the white Dr. Strange didn't deal with the voodoo aspect. He only dealt with the metaphysical, which was out of balance, which is the yin side of magic. The yang side would be the dark side. So they merged Brother Voodoo back with Dr. Strange to make him back into the black man he originally was, who was Randolph, who lived in the village. And if you read his comic books, that's exactly where Dr. Strange lives. And various other things we talked about. I'm not going to stay on that because we should know a lot about that by now. Here's a picture of, if you look at this picture, that's George Washington. And how he died, he was bled to death. Because they had something called bleeding at that time as a medical practice to get poison out of the blood, supposedly, or also to lower the blood pressure. And that's why sometimes people with high blood pressure will get a nosebleed. Their nose will start bleeding. Of course, these are white European so-called doctors, and they just don't know what the hell they're doing anyway. But here's the real doctor in the corner here with the arrow. He's hidden all the way in the back, the Moor, right behind him right there. See the arrow right there? That's the Moor, who is the real doctor.
There's a movie out that they had out about that.
Quite a few. Here is one of the greatest white men in our history, in our time, Gerald Massey, who wrote quite a few books, but Natural Genesis, and quite a few other items that are very, very, very powerful, and became an outcast to his own people. And I don't know, looking at him right there, I'm seriously doubting whether he was totally black also. Because J. Rogers says once a white woman has sex with a black man, they can no longer have pure white children, no longer. because all of us know that you leave behind a germ. I don't know what the hell this is, but no, this is the 14th century Strasbourg Blackamoor defending their German court. That's a document that you can find in a library. Listen to the words. 14th century Strasbourg, and I used to send messages to Strasbourg from Nuremberg when I was in Germany, so I know that exists. 14th century Strasbourg Blackamoors defending their German court. Okay? So we talked about Bavaria, Germany. We know that St. Maurice and all them cats, the Pope when he came got the Moor on his thing, all that's yours. New York was yours, the banks were yours, checks were yours, paper money was yours, all taken from you when the Catholic Church went in and destroyed the Templars. Okay? And reversed everything. So the banks doing what they do, that's your shit. Everything out here is yours. And it's a proven, well-known fact, and it's in my new book. We talked about star stepping. We're going back and forth because we're dealing with how to use your the knowledge that you have on metaphysics to activate something in your physical reality. And so we're going back and forth to the magic and to the history of the magic also. Hand seals. Hand seals are very important. Go watch some old karate movies and you see all those hand seals they do. Those are magical symbols. And they have energy in them. Now the hand symbol, let me just move to the next slide for a minute. I think I got it backwards. No, not that one. Let's see. Yes, there it is. The symbol you always see, a Baphomet, everybody go to the concert going like this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a hand symbol used to detect, now this is ancient. This ain't no new shit. This is ancient. This is a hand symbol that is used to detect spirit entities. And what you would do, there are certain points on your hand that you would put certain archetypes that would channel certain energies, which on my hand here, I have the Big Dipper. Okay? The thumb tip touches the ring finger. Okay? So I'm sure people in their conscience don't know all that. But that is the actual symbol of what we call Baphomet or whatever. And you will be able to detect spirit entities by using that symbol. And you use it this way. You do both hands like that, like at the bottom of the screen. And you could put those two symbols together like this at the top and twirl them around either to the left or the right. And it will discharge a type of energy. And what that energy will do, it says here, hand seal for detecting and dissolving the energetic fields of evil spirits. The left hand and right hand symbols come together, creating a
particle accelerator.
Visualize the evil spirit being dissolved with divine violet light. That symbol will work. If you go, like I said, I have in my book, I'll put the DVD cover, but there's a new movie, not a new movie, but a Taoist movie that's out where they're just using hand symbols through the whole movie. It's a karate movie, but they just use the hand symbols. Very, very powerful technique that you could use to, if you feel as though you may have some negative energies or demons, and if you don't think they're real, if we get time, I'm going to go through what the Bible says. And that's what everybody can relate to, you know, what the Bible says about that. And reading that part of the Bible, I found out, as I'm looking at this, I'm saying, yo, this Bible is heavier than damn the voodoo Gnostic, heavier than any type of stuff I've ever read. What's up, my brother?
You know what, can I say something that's interesting? Last night I watched the DVD I got about Michael Jordan. They showed Will Smith and David Letterman when Will Smith kissed David Letterman. Then they went to Will's son, Jaden, his son. He walked on the Letterman set. The first thing he did, he went like this.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And he went and sit next to David Letterman. Like he moved to the far part of the chair. David was like, "Are you okay?" He said, "Yeah." Then he got up and he moved to the other seat. But he did the whole interview where like this part of the people sit in. Will's son was like this. And then even when the interview was done, he said,
"Yeah."
And so I'm sitting there listening to what you said and going, wow, that's what he was doing. Because I was wondering why he was doing it like that. Because he kept twisting his wrists around. Then as soon as he finished the interview with David Letterman, he said bye right before the commercial, and then David was, you could see David was looking at his hand, and he was like,
yeah.
that is crazy.
Right, that's heavy right there, brother. And it takes me back to Jennifer Hudson's son, or niece, or what, nephew. And it makes me think that picture wasn't taken after he died. That was when he had a picture of him in Daily News doing the same symbol. Yeah. Now we know it wasn't taken after he died. Maybe they knew something about that little boy, the genius of that little boy. Why was he holding his fingers like that? You know, how did you get him to do that? You understand? So there's something going on there that we don't know nothing about.
And it makes sense too, because my daughter, she was in the womb, so she still sucks her fingers like this. She does that. Like when she sucks her fingers, she holds it. She always sucks.
It's a powerful symbol.
My daughter did the same thing.
Wow.
She didn't stop sucking her fingers like that till she was 5 years old, going to school.
Well, remember that is a very powerful symbol, especially if you use them together. You got to get rid of negative demons, actually, demons, and those are ancient techniques. Here's a picture of my 3-level chess. Now, this is what we're going to talk about also. This is I had a person make this for me. This is a beautiful chess. I wish I had somebody to play. I play my queen sometime, but you know, I need some deep players. Triple level chess is an ancient form of magic. Chess is a Ouija board, okay? Chess ain't got nothing to do with you having fun. Chess is a magical instrument that will program your life. The history of it is so deep that I'm not going to go through all of it. I'm going to give you some here now. The history is so deep, the whole history is in my book. The book is going to be out hopefully before Thanksgiving, before we end the classes with Booker T. The way to play, first of all, I would like to teach how to play chess in general first, but I don't think we need that here.
Yeah, for me.
For you? Okay, we're going to do that over here. And I'll show you how each piece moves. We'll do that later, or when after class, we get downstairs. I want to go through the history first. The triple level board, was first seen on Star Trek. Okay? The actual chessboard that you're looking at right here symbolizes the circle and the square. What happens is we play now by moving on each square forward. The pawns move forward 1 square, or it can move forward on the first move 2 squares. Okay? And the castle, which is behind the pawn, move forward, straight up and down, or straight to the side. The whole objective of the game, or to win the game, you have to control the center of the board. The first thing you want to do is get your knights, your bishops, and possibly your queen out from behind the front line. Once you get them out from behind the front line, you manipulate them to control the center of the board. Whoever does that is going to win the game. Whoever controls this right here wins the game. That's how it's played today, one-dimensionally. And you as a third-dimensional being, why are you playing one-dimensional chess? Because it shuts down your eyes. You got 3 eyes, don't you? Left, right, and pineal. Third eye. But why you only play on one board? You use a 3-level game. And they showed you that in Star Trek, which we're going to look at. The actual places where you put the pieces were really on the points. To put it on the square was to get trapped in physical reality. It was always on the points, and the points represent star constellations. It was a magical board. It is a magical board. It can be still used that way. Each move, each piece, if you look here on the wall, if we look at the knight, that's Pegasus, the constellation of Pegasus. It's the only piece on the board that can fly. Okay? So whenever you play chess, the history of it is dealing with the astral plane or dealing with the star constellation. The middle board is dealing with your physical reality. The lower board is dealing with the underworld. The dark information you don't want to see anymore. Dark meaning that the sun went down, it's dark outside, and magically everything disappeared. Okay, that's the whole science of magic, to make shit disappear. And it's only nighttime and daytime. Everything, every pantheon was based upon sun, moon, nighttime energies. All of the occult information, metaphysical information you ever read is based on that. So don't be scared when you hear about demon stuff, and demons are real. When you hear about dark side information really that helps you to combat them, because if you're not taught this, or if you don't learn it, then you're susceptible to it. And that's what they want. Oh, we gotta hide this stuff, make it scary, so that we'll have an opportunity to attack and do what we want to people. And that's why Christians, if you read that Bible, that shit is heavy. I mean, that Bible got some deep demonic stuff in it. And I'm like, yo, that's the most demonic. It might be the most godly, if what they might say, but it's also the most demonic. So you start the game in the center board, which is physical reality. And you have the opportunity to move either to the astral plane or to the underworld. Now, when you move one piece up or one piece down, that is a move. You can't move a piece up and then make a move like that and put somebody in check. You can't do that. Another good point to this game is that when a piece is in check, your queen might be in check, your king might be in check, you can move the piece up or move it down out of check. So it makes it harder, the game goes on longer, and the strategies are greater. And because you're dealing with star constellations, physical reality, and the underworld. Okay? The underworld, even when you're playing this game, sometimes you're playing, you put a piece down and you forget it's down there. It's hidden. It's a very interesting game. So when we look at how we are trained to play on one board, you are left out of different parts of your third dimensional reality. You have to begin to think on this level. This is a magical Ouija board that will tap you into these levels of information to get you on course in your life to live out in the astral, physical, and underworld. You understand? That's why when you see the yin and yang symbol, you have the male yin and the male yang and the female yin. The object is to meditate on the line that separates them. Because that's where you live. You're half male and half female. 40%, if you're a man,